Hey guys, Chris Clothier here with the Grind Podcast, coming to you with another episode. I'm super excited about this week's episode. You may have noticed I'm excited every week about our episodes, but this one is one that I'm not 100% sure we've even really mentioned. We've been doing this now for over a year, almost a year, right at a year, somewhere in there. And we haven't talked yet at length about this topic. And it really, it hits home hard for me as an entrepreneur because I've been married for 25 years. I've got 5 children at home that are in all different stages of their lives. One who's an adult, one who's close to being an adult, one who's a teenager, one who's close to being a teenager, and then I've still got a little one that's just like young in school. So I've got this wide range of kids and family and responsibility at home. But I also am in a business and an entrepreneur where my partners happen to be family. And we get a ton of questions. I mean, this is like one of those things that we get asked a lot at different conferences or whenever we're, meeting clients or even other investors, other potential entrepreneurs. They always ask the questions about family. Like, how do you do this as a family person? And then the questions always kind of take that route into, how do you do this with family? So here you are, not only are you partnered with other family members, but you have family at home. So how do I navigate the world of finding partners or being partners with people that are my family? And then how do I make sure that I'm not, robbing time from my kids? I'm not robbing time from my spouse. I'm making sure that I am balancing. And, I've got some takes on this, and some of them are, I would not say that they're unique, but they're probably not widely held. I've heard this and kind of, been mentored, I think, by others as entrepreneurs. And I'm gonna espouse some of their thoughts on this. I'm sure they got these thoughts from someone else too. So it's not like any of this is going to be wildly unique, but it's definitely something that I don't think you hear a lot about. So let me just kind of, with that intro, dive right into it. Look, I was raised in an entrepreneurial family. And what I mean by that is that, my dad, on my dad's side, my dad in 1983, I believe, became a full-time entrepreneur. Left the job he was at, him and my stepmom at the time, and they just began to build out companies as they saw fit. I mean, they no longer wanted to take a check from someone else. They wanted to go out there and kind of blaze their own trail, build their own path. He did not have a ton of mentors in front of him who had done that. Most of his mentors were definitely, the business-minded mentor. This is how you start your day. This is how you hold people accountable. This is how you hold yourself accountable. This is how you, get this result. This is how you track that result. This is how you move the needle, move the numbers, whatever it ends up being. He had mentors that showed him how to do that. Now it was his turn to go out there and apply that to his own businesses. And, I grew up in this household where, especially early on, I remember I would get home from school. I'd ride the bus in the morning, then I'd ride the bus home. I would get home. I would get picked up at home by my stepmom. We would drive out to the store because we were in the grocery business. We would drive out to the store. My brother and I would spend some time generally stocking shelves, labeling, using price guns to label prices on items. We would front the shelves. We would sweep the store. We'd mop the store. My brother would go and help with this, try and cut his hand off with the at the butcher back in the back, which, that's a true story. He sliced himself open one time, so he'll let him tell that. But, and I don't need any emails from anybody talking about child labor. This was not the case. This is back off. This was like 40 freaking years ago. So let's be clear on this. This was kids doing what they're doing. We were working. And so here we go. All right. Not to devolve. I remember working. I remember going, and when I wasn't doing these things, as I got older, I was bagging groceries. I was taking groceries out to the car for the shoppers. I was running the carts back in. I vividly remember this. I remember on the weekends, because we also, as my dad grew his businesses, he went from owning one grocery store to owning two, to owning several, then to owning convenience stores. I remember on Saturdays, my weekends were, if I had a soccer game, I'd go play the soccer game. When I was done, I would go to work. And my work a lot of times consisted of hopping in the truck with another employee of my dad's, and we would go to the grocery store and we would shop for the convenience store. We would shop on the shelves and get the things that we needed, to supply and order over to the convenience stores to make sure that their stores were filled. So, what does that have to do with this? I was raised in this environment of family time was often work time, and work time was family time. I mean, it was kind of a mix of both. I played sports. I was involved in all kinds of different things. So was my older brother, my younger brother. We all were. But especially my older brother and I, early on, we had to work. We spent a lot of time, because my dad and stepmom were spending a lot of time making their business operate at a successful, profitable level. And so that was just part of it. We didn't know any different, and I wouldn't change a thing. We were raised in this environment where you had to work. And because you had to work, that became family time. Dinner time sometimes was at the grocery store, that we owned. And there's a lot of families out there that is the way their businesses operate. It was a small enterprise that was ours. And so that's the environment I was raised in. Now, you fast forward to today, we are in about maybe the umpteenth to the 20th different iteration of business. My dad has started and sold and closed and started again, all kinds of different businesses, lots of different industries too. I mean, a lot of different things. Some of them were meant to be big and grow. Some were meant to just be, these are just small little things that we do to provide income. Some of them were investment side businesses. So just the same, I was raised in this environment where there wasn't a lot of division. Now, today, I'm in a company where even today we're in a different phase than we were a decade ago. A decade ago, I was on the road a lot for REI Nation. Back then, we hadn't rebranded yet. We were Memphis Invest, and I was on the road once or twice a month, speaking at different conventions, showing up at different events. Just representing our company, taking investors out to dinner, doing small get-togethers. It didn't matter to me if it was one investor or 10 investors. If an investor wanted to bring a friend to meet me, I would be there. I did what I had to do to help us grow. That was something that my family understood. My family, because at that point I'm married. I have kids at home, and they were relatively young, but we were traveling. So one of the ways that I balanced, which I'm going to get to that in a second, but I balanced this need for my kids to understand was I would create a time in their lives where, and I think we would create it for third graders, they would travel with me to a business event, and they would go to all of it with me. So they would get to see me speak on stage. They would get to listen to me. They get to watch me in action. They get to see me, interacting and mingling with other investors. And the purpose of that was they needed to see that when I went out of town, what was I doing? If I was gone from home for 2 to 3 days, what was happening? Why was I gone? And it would help them to kind of really better understand that I wasn't necessarily choosing to be away from them, because I never wanted to do that. But I was choosing to build the ability where in the future I wouldn't have to be. I was doing what I had to do so that in the future I could do what I wanted to do. And that's a really big part that I want everybody to focus on in this particular podcast, is that, and this is the part that I was going to tell you is it's not unique to me, but it is unique because just not a lot of people understand or feel this way, that it's difficult to have real balance, to have the scales of work and family level. If you want to be truly successful, and I'm talking like however you choose to define successful. If you choose to define successful as in, I'm building a 1% business. Like, it's better than 99% of its competitors out there. I am in the top, the elite, the best of the best. You're going to have to be unbalanced. There's no other way to do it. The same thing goes with athletic endeavors. The same thing goes with anything that you want to do where you aspire to define success as being better than everyone. Like, success is not just that I win. Success is not just that I make money. Success is that I maximize. Like, I am doing as much as I can do. I am maximizing my abilities, my income, my efforts. It requires getting unbalanced. I'm not going to sidetrack too far, but when I ran the 100-mile ultramarathon, my life was not balanced. I sat down with my business partners and told them, I am going to miss some time. I am going to be putting a lot of time into training my mind and my body to complete this race. I told my family, this is what I'm doing. And by telling my partners and my family, what I got from them was buy-in. They understood that for a small amount of time, I was going to be unbalanced. I was going to be putting my efforts and time elsewhere, but it paid off, so big in every other area of my life. But for that period of time, I was unbalanced. For the period of time when I was traveling, I was unbalanced. I was traveling a lot more than I wanted to be traveling. And I was missing some stuff at home, and I was spending some time on the road. It wasn't particularly, I will say this, it wasn't particularly healthy across the boards for a lot of areas of my life. But it was a necessary thing that I needed to do in order to provide, again, this unbalanced lifestyle today. I spend more time with my family today than I do in the business, by design, on purpose. And so even today, I'm not perfectly balanced. I have the ability, and from a fantastic team behind us to systems and operating procedures that allow this company to thrive and grow, it allows me to really be super focused, like on this kind of thing, this content creation. And it allows me that if I need to go work out, if I need to go to a function of my child's, if I need to get out of town, whatever it ends up being, I'm able to do it. I'm able to put my focus on my family today because I put my focus on my business before. It's, for everybody that's listening out there today, sometimes it's a hard concept to understand, and sometimes it's a hard concept to truly buy into, because everyone wants this perfect balance. Everyone wants this, I spend just the right amount of time at home and just the right amount of time at work. And, what I feel like I've learned over time is that it's not that way. And it doesn't have to be that way. We just have to understand the seasons. We have to understand the ebbs and flows of how we grow a business, how we operate as an entrepreneur, what season of my business am I in, and where do I need to be putting my time? Do I need to be planting seeds, which means I'm going to be putting a lot more time into my business? Is it time for me to be letting it grow, which is when I need to be surrounding myself with really good people, or is it time to harvest? And that's when I got to have a great team around me to really reap the reward and the benefit. And it allows me to be able to do what I need to do when I need to do it. And for those of you that are in our scenario, you'll understand this too, that I've got two partners. Well, I've got one partner that's my dad. He doesn't have kids at home anymore. His unbalance is he's bored if he's not working. He's just like, I'm just ready to work. And he's trying to find all these new and creative things to do. He wants to be involved in, so many different parts of the business. I think sometimes he's halfway disappointed that the business has gotten as big as it is, because he wants it to keep growing, but the bigger it gets, the more people he relies on to handle these really, really detailed parts of the business. And because of that, he's unable to be as disciplined and as in tune with all the details. And I think that bothers him. I think he gets to the point where he's like, I want to be looking at the houses. I want to be in there deciding, is this work done right or wrong? I want to go back to 10 years ago where my dad would walk in there and he would grab a bag of trash that was left in front of the house that should never be left in front of the house and throw it in the middle of the street and tell the team, go pick it up because it's never supposed to be here in front of the house. That actually happened. It's on one of our webisodes that we recorded a long time ago to show people behind the scenes of our company. You can look it up on YouTube. It's there. It's called the Cash Flow Pros. It was excellent. by the way. We loved doing this. But the point is that he wishes he could go back to where he's more into it. So like his time, his imbalance is that he is trying to spend more and more and more and more time at work and at the business because he loves it. It's what he really enjoys doing. Whereas myself, my younger brother, we're partners with him. We're all pouring as much as we can into this company, but he and I are also pouring, heavily into our families. And so we're blessed. We're blessed to be at a point in a season of our business where we are able to imbalance a little bit, especially over the summer, and put some more into our family. When our kids go back to school, we'll be putting more into the business. That's just kind of the way it is. And as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that to think that you can go day in and day out perfectly balanced, it's really difficult. It's going to be hard to be great at anything and be truly successful if you define it as I just want to be the best I can be and better than everyone else around me, because nobody else can determine that for myself. It's hard to be balanced in life if that's truly what you want. And that's what this week's episode is all about. Look, if you got questions about how to be balanced, if you got questions about your particular scenario, I talk to investors all the time. I would love to answer your questions. Feel free to email me. All right, shoot me an email. Make a comment here on the social media channels. Make a comment on the podcast itself. Get out to us. Let us know what it is that you want to know about about work, life, family, balance. I've shared a little bit of my story, so believe me, I've kind of seen almost everything that can happen out there. Let me know if I can help you out. Until then, guys, make sure you like the podcast, share it with others, get our story out there. Let us know what we can do to help you. And until we get a chance to meet again, commit to the grind. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.